And there we go. So, hello and welcome for this interview. How are you today?
We're doing great. Thank you very much for inviting us to your channel.
No problem. That's where the channel is for. Partly. So I am going to ask you a few questions about
Great.
your game and your studio.
Awesome.
And the goal is that you answer them as short and as information full as possible.
Great.
So there's to be a lot of information in not so much time.
We'll do our best.
Okay. So the first question is, how long does your studio exist?
Well, we started in 2012, and we founded the company, and then a bit later we released Nanomites for mobile, for Android and iOS, and that was in 2012 as well. Yeah, and since then we've been working on Spectrum, which we released on mobile first, and now on Steam.
Oh, that's really nice. That you took a while to make it.
Yeah, it took a little bit because we really wanted to have as many levels as we could, and since all levels are like handcrafted, they're modeled, and they took a bit of play testing to get them right. So that was one of the things that took the most time when developing Spectrum. And we wanted to get it just right. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, what were your sources and inspiration of making Spectrum?
Good. It started out testing Unity mechanics. Like, the first thing we wanted to do was try out if Unity had accelerometer support for mobile. So while testing that, it felt nice to move a ball around using tilt controls. So we started adding more mechanics to it. Like, we added a jump mechanic, then we added dive mechanics. And while doing that, the gameplay started feeling right. And we felt that doing a platformer was like the way to go. And we took inspiration from games such as Super Meat Boy and BBBBB and Super Mario Brothers and all of that. That's where the inspiration came from. Mega Man also has some input on that, and that's where some of the inspiration comes from for the levels. And what else can I say?
I don't know. What else you can say?
That's pretty much it. That when we started doing the mechanics, it just felt that's the game we wanted to do, and we just kept working on it until we were like very happy with the proof of concept, and then we just started working on the levels and polishing the game as much as we could.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So, for what platforms have you developed Spectrum?
Okay, it's already out on iOS and Android, and today we release on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And right now we're gonna work on consoles. So we're planning on bringing it to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and maybe, depends on how the port goes, to Vita.
Well, that's a lot.
Well, we wanted to take advantage since the start. We wanted to take advantage of Unity as much as we could. Unity supports a broad number of platforms, so we wanted to, use that as much as we could. And that's why since the beginning we did like touch controls for Spectrum and tilt controls and gamepad support and keyboard. And it's something we had in mind from the beginning because we knew Unity supported all these platforms. And gladfully we have received support from Sony and Microsoft as well, and they have provided the SDKs. So that's the next step for us in Spectrum.
So that's pretty nice. It's pretty big. So what type of education have you done?
Type of what, sorry?
What type of education have you done?
All right. Well, we have a broad range of degrees in the office. Like we have architects, computer science people, um, and a few engineers on the team. And everyone, has a background in as a gamer. And but yeah, it's most of the illustrators come from architecture, and the other one is just an illustrator since he was born, pretty much. That's what I would like to say. And the rest of the programming team all come from a computer science background, and
Okay.
and our level designer is an engineer as well.
Okay.
hmm
How many people are working on Spectrum?
We have 6 people working. We had 6 people. We're like shifting the team a little bit as we move towards the next projects. But on Spectrum, we had the team is currently formed by 6 people, and there's also an external guy doing the sounds, and there's also another person doing the executive, working as an executive producer. But the core of the team is formed by 6 people.
Okay. That's for an indie studio. It's pretty much.
It's okay. We're looking at expanding, actually. We're looking for more people to join the team.
Well, the more people, the better your games get, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot more work too, but we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge in producing your games?
Well, I think that's a multiple part question. Just because there are so many challenges when you're developing a game. I think many developers would agree that getting the game as polished as you can is very important. It's very challenging because there's a lot of work when you want to get the game as polished as you want, especially if you are a gamer and you are, fond of games by companies that make very polished games. Um, so living up to that standard of good, great games that are polished is very tough. It requires a lot of work and dedication, and getting to that point where you feel the game is ready or good enough to be released. It's challenging because you're looking at this thing for so long that it's like you start to see flaws that not that many people will find. So you have to convince yourself that it's actually ready and that it's polished and that you feel good with it. So that's a challenge in itself. Um, Also, we had the challenge of I don't know if you are aware, but our publisher went out of business. So that was a challenge in itself, having to rush all the paperwork to be able to release on Steam without them, and doing pretty much all the PR ourselves, which was something that they were going to handle. So that was a challenge as well. And without jumping into that many details, I'll just say that it took more effort than we would have wanted it to. But gladfully, our main concern was not pushing the release date back. And we were able to achieve that, so we were very happy with that, because with the releases that are coming in the next month, it's like we didn't want to push it, to October or something like that. We were already like on the edge of where we wanted it to be. So that was good.
Well,
And
that's pretty nice. And if you
yeah.
did it yourself, it's
yeah,
publisher dies. Okay, let's do it ourselves, so this works. So,
yeah, we were able
yeah.
to work as organized as we could, and we managed to achieve. We also received great support from Steam. They were very helpful in getting us, through the system and answering to all of our concerns very quickly, and that helped a lot. They really lent a hand, and we were very happy with that. And another concern is working in Venezuela. It's quite a challenge in itself, which not that many developers go through, because things we go through in here are not very common. Like our internet connections are very, very bad, and like during Spectrum, I would say like 1 or 2 months of development uh, were damaged or slowed down because of power outages. Like we couldn't come to the office for weeks, and we had to work from home, and that slowed things down because we have all the assets in the office and stuff like that. So working your way around that was very challenging, and uploading your game, so uploading the trailer, downloading stuff that you need to run the game and work on the game, like the SDKs and stuff like that, or even Unity updates. It's a pain when you have such a bad internet connections. So that's a challenge in itself. So it's quite challenging in many ways, but it's also really rewarding when you get to this point when you finally release the game, and we've been getting very good feedback. So I don't know, it gives us gas to keep going, I guess.
Well, that's pretty cool. You make Venezuela sound like a country where people drive in Flintstone cars.
Well, in that case, I'm not being. In that case, I'm being condescending because it's worse. But yeah, it's a very tough country to live in right now.
Okay.
But we manage, to work around and do the best we can to continue doing what we really like, which is developing games and working on the things we love.
Nice sirens, by the way.
The siren, you can hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from outside. I hope it. I'm sorry. That's Venezuela.
It's no problem. Well, there's a police office right around the corner here, so they come by here all the time. But yeah, mostly, yeah.
It could be that the school that's in front of our office is getting robbed, and I don't know.
Schools get robbed?
It's probably just an alarm going off. It should shut up in a little bit. Hopefully.
Do schools get robbed in Venezuela?
It's happened.
Okay, that kind of stuff doesn't happen in the Netherlands. No one will even think about robbing a school.
Yeah, it's like there's some stories, and I don't want to get sidetracked to Venezuela stuff. But there's some colleges that have been on which students have been robbed during tests. Like they're taking a test and engineering tests, and they get their calculators robbed during the tests and stuff like that. The HPs ones that are kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Those. Yeah, that's actually pretty common.
Okay, well, that kind of stuff doesn't happen in the Netherlands, so that's pretty interesting, but indeed, the video is not about Venezuela. We can do that some other time.
For sure.
Do you get any help from the industry to develop and promote the Spectrum and probably future games?
That's a very interesting question. I would say yes. Particularly, we received a lot of help from the community. Like the Unity forums have been a great source of information and help and feedback. Also, other developers have joined our Discord channel, and we have received a lot of feedback from them regarding some of the paperwork we had to do regarding the publisher issues. We also received great help from Sony and Microsoft receiving the SDKs. Sony has this program called the Latin American Incubation Program, on which they waive the SDK fees for Latin American developers, and that's actually a very great thing to have because those kits are costly, and and they do provide that for Latin American developers. And well, Unity in general is a great tool, and the team from Unity, we have received some feedback from some help from them as well. We have contacted them like via Twitter and stuff like that. They have replied, and I don't know. It's like a very friendly environment all around. Like some other developers retweet our messages, they favorite it. Like on Twitter, you use hashtags such as game dev, and people show their support if they like what they see. So I would say it's a very friendly environment all around. People are really helpful because I guess they understand that it's a very tough industry. So everyone tries to, it's tough to be working on your product and have a minute to help other people, but I feel like people are do well, and they help each other out as much as they can. They not only work on their games, but they also, like, if they have some good findings, they share a lot of information on sites like Gamasutra or Twitter, or on their personal sites. They share a lot of information. Like every post-mortem you see out there for every game, that's helpful not only for us, but I'm pretty sure for every developer.
Well, okay, that's a lot of help indeed.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like each platform? If you look at Steam or console, how would you like them as a person?
Okay. Well, it's our first time releasing on Steam, so it's very soon to tell. It's too soon to tell. But regarding Steam, we do feel like Greenlight is a bit of an issue for some developers, because some people can have good games, but it's hard to get there because of Greenlight. So I feel Steam needs to do a better job regarding that. And they have said that they're going to work on that, but I don't know what their plans are for that. But getting starting out on other platforms such as Android or the App Store is easier for smaller indie developers. So I would say it's easier to get into other platforms, but at the same time, I know Steam provides you with this huge opportunity for PC. So I don't know. It's kind of early to tell still for us, but so far the experience with Steam has been very great regarding their. Sorry, they're knocking on the door. Sorry. So far, the experience we've had with Steam has been very great regarding their feedback. So their help. So their human side is better than Apple and Android, but the entry is easier on Apple and Android. So I don't know. It's this thing that's balancing out, I guess, because it's still not perfect, and people are learning still to how to deal with the huge number of developers that are appearing now, I guess.
Well, on Steam you have like the Greenlight thing, and you need votes, right? So if you have a lot of friends, you can get every crap game on it.
Well, it's when you release your game on Greenlight, you have to do like marketing just to get on Steam. It's pretty much how I see it. So it's pretty tough. But at the same time, I understand that they need to keep, I don't know, some games out because they might not be ready for what they expect from the platform. But there might be other ways for them to get that, instead of doing something that feels a little hard to accomplish, which is Greenlight. Many developers have issues with it. It's hard for them to get the support because of what I mentioned, that you have to pretty much market. It's already hard to market your game when you're small. So when you have to market it twice just to get on the platform where you're going to distribute it, it's pretty challenging. So I would love if Steam had a better system, but I guess that's the way it's set up right now, and I don't know, it's not so bad, but I would like it to be better. That's all.
Okay.
And well, regarding PlayStation and Xbox, we haven't really done that much development on those. So I don't know, when we release on PlayStation, we can do another interview and we can do a follow-up discussion.
Well, then we can talk about that, but what type of games do you play in your free time?
Well, everyone at the office plays a lot of Hearthstone, and we play a broad number of games. Like I'm very addicted to StarCraft 2, and I've been playing Overwatch recently. We've also been playing some GoldenEye on Steam recently at the office. Yeah, we like right now our game designer has wasted a lot of time playing Fallout Shelter on PC. He's looking at me that like you shouldn't have said that. But it's the truth. I'm getting this out.
Be transparent.
Let's be transparent about it.
You have a problem.
We've also been playing. Yeah, you have a problem. You should address that. We've also been playing Banjo Kazooie, like revisiting the classics. Metroidvanias also. We one of our programmers was playing the other day. Diddy Kong Symphony of the Night. I don't know. We play a lot of games at the office. I don't know how we get work done, to be honest.
Okay, so your work is gaming and making
We call
games.
it research, okay? We call it research.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
fun research.
Yeah, it's fun research. We try to balance it out as best as we can. And
I want a job like that as well.
yeah, and for like while we were working on Spectrum, we try to play some platformers. Like we played a lot of Super Meat Boy, a lot of BBB, and some older platformers, 2D platformers. Were like looking for inspiration. We got some ideas from Donkey Kong Returns. That game is awesome, and so yeah, we try to balance out playing and working, because we get a lot of inspiration from other games. We try to borrow ideas, but no, not too much. Just enough that our games feel fresh and that the good ideas and the good mechanics that we find in other games we apply to our own and try to give them our own twist and make them how would we do this and stuff like that.
Okay, well then I have one last question. How did you guys learn to code and design?
Alright, well, for design, it's our game designer might be able to answer that question. I'll put him on for that one. Like, how did you learn to design? And for the coding part, it's been well, we have different backgrounds. Like our programming guys come from computer science. I do as well. I'm a programmer, and now I'm currently working as a producer. So it's been an organic learning experience. I guess that's how we put it. Like every day learning a little bit more. And I come from a web background, like doing websites and Java and JavaScript and stuff like that. And so when moving towards Unity, since Unity supported JavaScript, it was like a friendly learning curve. So it's been more of a everyday experience, learning a little bit more and visiting some websites when we're looking to develop mechanics, visiting the forums, Stack Overflow, YouTube, learning many things from other developers. We have taken some courses on Udemy. We also took a course on Bus 3D, I think the site was. So it's multiple sources, and it's a matter of trying to stay on top of what's new and what's the techniques being used right now and stuff like that. Visiting programming websites like Game Dev or on Reddit and what was that subreddit? I think it's called How Games Are Made or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's trying to see what other people are doing and trying to apply it to your own while doing some research on some websites and stuff like that. And let me put on Santiago for that. How did he learn about design? So he can answer.
Okay. That's good.
Hey Eddie, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. Do you hear me well?
Okay. What?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, good. So how did I learn to design? Well, I did a lot of research. I bought a few books, research online, and part of it is just basic intuition. Like what I felt was right for design wise, and the books I bought were really helpful. I had like a game design workshop and game field books that really helped me get in the mindset of designing. So yeah, basically that's it. That's how I learned.
So you used books, you went online, and
Yeah,
then you learned it.
yeah, basically, and I'm still learning.
That's really
I'm
nice.
still learning, yeah, because we started we're not this is our first experience developing games, so we basically learned everything from zero. Like we came here and when we started the company, and our first months were just researching, how to what SDK we should be using and how to use it, and how is all this process of making games all about. So after that, it was just sort of natural.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it sounds
basically
pretty
that's it.
cool.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, then you can give the headset back to David,
Alright.
because it was the last question.
Okay. Thanks, Eddie.
I'm back.
Yay! So it was the last question, and yeah, I can only ask you to tell anything you want to tell now, but I do have to warn you, the video is getting a bit long.
Right. Well, I guess I just want to thank you for having us on your channel again, and your questions were very great. And I guess what I would want to say is that if any people are encouraged about making games, what they should do is just start making games, because your questions seem to bring that up, like how to start. And the way to start is just make your game. Stop waiting for other people to work with you in case you can't find a team. Just start working on a game, go to a game jam, and try to find someone online. But if you can't, just get on it. There are many tools out there that you can use now that really make it easy. Unity is one of them, but there's Game Maker, there's Gamer Salad, I think it's called, and I mean, go for it if you want to make a game.
Okay. Well, I don't want to make a game. I like to make videos about games.
Awesome, but I mean for the people watching your videos.
I think a lot of them do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you as well.
And I want to thank my viewers for watching this video.